Alright, guys, so this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Jack Oliver. Jack Oliver, thank you so much for your continued patronage. And, yeah, so as always, if you'd like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where if you hit the 4th tier, you can send me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. Anyway, you can also check out the exclusive content over on Patreon as well. But anyway, so out of the over 30 Patreon requests, yeah, over 30. Fun fact, don't do that. Don't do that. So I'm just going to just take a few because I have to focus on other people's Patreon requests too. And this one was one of them. So basically, this is a video talking about how would I bring in Ultraman into the Monsterverse? With the Monsterverse now, like, clearly a cash cow after Godzilla vs. Kong did banger numbers post-pandemic, it's safe to say that, like, that any monster now could be fair game here on out. Like, that's kind of the thing, is that any monster now could be fair game from this point on. So, in here, we're going to talk about, like, what monsters could we, what monsters could we use from Ultraman, and what could we use to fit Ultraman into the universe? Like, how could we fit the Ultraman mythos into the Monsterverse? So here we go. So how I would do it, let's see. I think what I would like to do first off is have that the Science Patrol is not connected to Monarch. I would have it that the Science Patrol is made up of former Monarch members. I would have it that, like, after every fuck up that Monarch had done, every single, like, screw up they did and caused what basically caused this event that led to one of their top agents betraying the entire world and working with an eco-terrorist after King of the Monsters. I would say that this team would be more of a response team for two grounds. One, this would be more faster response time against Titans, and also study them. This would be more focused on study. So the Science Patrol in here would be more focused on research and development and how the Titans could better benefit the world, and also focus on an cosmic level foes. Like, since Ghidorah came from space, like, what other monsters could show up in, at our doorstep is what I'm saying. Like, what other monsters could be out there that could cause just rampant chaos and rampant, destruction to the entire planet? That, Ghidorah was just one species. What if there's multiple Ghidorahs out there? What if this? What if that? There's so much to really, like, unpack with all of it. Anyway, so that's how I think I would do the Science Patrol, like how I'd introduce the Science Patrol, and among them would be Hayata, who is a former Monarch member who was more or less demoralized by Monarch after by the events of Monarch, after seeing of how piss poorly they handled the whole Ghidorah situation, and also Dr. Serizawa's sacrifice was kind of like the last straw for him. So he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pack up and join the Science Patrol. Meanwhile, while this is going on, Ghidorah. I would have it that Ghidorah's attack on Earth, basically, like, what happened was Ghidorah's attack on Earth was like a signal. Whenever he roared and summoned, whenever that scene where he roars and, declares dominion over the other Titans, I would have it that it was more or less that signal was heard out in the far reaches of space, and from there, Ghidorah, like, basically called out to the, like, that signal was heard by other aliens, and that signal was basically saying, Earth's ready to be conquered, but I already got here first, bitches. So these other alien races would be more or less like, fuck that, we're gonna go take the planet. Like, we're gonna go take the planet for ourselves, and fuck you if you think you could stop us. So that's how it would be, is that's how I'd introduce the aliens. I would also have that while this has been going on out in space, the Ultramen had been more or less like the Green Lantern Corps, which would not be too far off because we could just incorporate that because Warner Brothers owns DC Comics. So in this version of the Ultraman, like the Ultramen are like the Green Lantern Corps. So we have the first Ultraman who comes down to Earth after following a dangerous galactic opponent. That being, if I was to put Ultraman in the Monsterverse, I think the first villain I would use is Baltan. I would realistically use Baltan as the first villain, mostly because he's a cool villain to see. Also, he's probably my favorite Ultraman. Actually, he is my favorite Ultraman kaiju. So I'd be like, use Baltan first, and also then build up Bemular. I think that would be a lot of fun. I would definitely save Bemular for the other, for a future film. Like, I would definitely use Bemular for a future film. And as for others, like Gomas and the others, I would say, like, some of the monsters were Earth-based. So I would have that, like, Gomas, Litra, and a few monsters like those are just other titans that have been woken up since the disturbance, and more importantly, like, the further disturbance between the war of Godzilla and Kong. So that's how I'd explain that. But at the same time, like, Dada and these other space monsters that you see, like Ella King and all these other monsters, those would be space creatures who are also cosmic titans who are coming down because they think, the Earth's ready to be conquered, and Ghidorah opened the door for that. So now we can just waltz our asses right in and take what we want. Now, as for, like, bonding Hayata to Ultraman in this continuity, I would have that, Baltan did battle Ultraman. Ultraman and Baltan did do battle, but Ultraman was wounded, and he was discovered by Hayata, who's like, Hayata in here is like, holy shit, this is a unknown being, this is another unknown titan. He's like, I'm not what you, and Ultraman would be like, no, I'm not what you would call a titan, I am something else, and I'm here to protect the Earth from Baltan and even greater threats from beyond the stars. But I'm dying, and my mission is not incomplete. Please help me, human. Like, if you merge with me, then we can protect the Earth together. So, they would merge, they would come together, and the movie would be, Hayata dealing with him being Ultraman in secret, as well as finding out what Baltan's plan is, and also discovering that in this continuity, I would definitely have, like, maybe Baltan is like a servant of Bemular. I think that would be a neat idea, is to make, like, build up Bemular. And I don't think if we were to, like, realistically, if this was to be a movie, I would save Bemular for the third film. Like, definitely build, and even, like, if we're doing, like, a shared continuity, I would more or less save Bemular for, like, a big event. Like, maybe if they did, like, an adaptation of Destroy All Monsters and made Bemular the big like, I would definitely have, like, Bemular be the big villain for a story like this. I think that would be the only, like, logical way to really play with this idea. So I would have Ultraman also relegated in Japan, because God knows we're so obsessed with having Godzilla in China for some reason. Oh, I know, it's because of all the money. Never mind. Godzilla is like, I would love to see Godzilla come to Japan, but not while Legendary is held up by the economic balls by China. That's another story. That wasn't even, like, I wasn't trying to sound, like, negative towards China in general. I was just like, that's just how it is. They're owned by a Chinese company, and in the market, Legendary makes the most money from China. So they always try to throw in more stuff to focus on them than other countries. Bottom line, I'm just bummed that we haven't seen Godzilla in Japan proper. I know they've mentioned it a few times, but, like, properly, we haven't seen Godzilla in Japan in the Monsterverse yet. Maybe we'll get that in the Monarch show, I don't know. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So, Godzilla in here, I think Godzilla would see Ultraman as like another rival Titan. I would definitely see him as like it's a rival Titan, and plus we'd have Godzilla, Kong, and Ultraman all together for like a big kaiju Avengers type story. That'd be a lot of fun. But anyway, so you guys tell me in the comments below, how would you bring in Ultraman into the Monsterverse? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, thank you once again, Jack Oliver, for the Patreon request. And if you would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 4th tier. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.